Welcome in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 182. Jam-packed show. Very busy day. I'm going to try to make this a very efficient show, but I promise that often, and we're not able to do it. So let's get right into what missed the cut. Jimmy Butler, once again for Media Day, has a unique hairstyle. And listen, media, he does this on Media Day for a reason. He wants this to be his season-long headshot. Just like last year when he had the fake dreads, he wants every time he's talked about on television shows for this to be the headshot that comes up alongside him. We should respect his wishes. LeBron calls AD the face of the Lakers, and Taylor Swift and other stars attend Chiefs-Jets. We'll get to all of that in a moment, but Damoza, we must start with Monday Night Football. There's Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively and Hugh Jackman. How about that? All right, but we've got to start with Monday Night Football before we get to Chiefs-Jets. So we don't have to spend a ton of time on it, and I'm not going to kill you, Damoza. You like the underdog story. You liked Daniel Jones running around, running back as quarterback, and you wanted to believe in him. But as predicted, now listen, last night, the offensive line gave him no hope. He had no chance last night. They were just constantly under attack. But the problem is very simple. Brian Daboll wants to be able to ask Daniel Jones to play full-grown adult quarterback, and he can't. But because he's asking him to, all of a sudden, a guy who in 2021 seemingly had his interception problem under control, only throwing 7. In 2022, played the entire year and only threw 5. He now, through 4 games, has thrown 6. A guy whose fumbling problem, seemingly he had gotten under control after 29 fumbles his first 2 years in the league, having only 13 in his next 2 years, now has 4 fumbles in 4 games. And as far as the offensive line goes, he was sacked 22 times total in 2021, 44 times last year. This year, through 4 games, he has been sacked 22 times. And the Giants gave him a long-term extension, and it was I said it at the time, I will say it again, it was a massive mistake. They are now tied to him for next year when they could have franchise tagged him. With all that said, Damoza, all of this is not on Daniel Jones. Brian Daboll's team has looked woefully unprepared. They have, if you remove the second half of the game against the Cardinals, they have been outscored this season. I want to make sure I have this exactly right. If you remove the second half of the game against the Cardinals, they lost 40-0. Then the first half, 20-0. So 40 plus 20 plus 30 is 90. They have, that's unbelievable. If you remove the second half against the Cardinals, they have lost this year 114-15. They have been outscored by 99 points in the other 14 quarters. That is not purely on. I'm sorry? That's coaching,
like
yes.
Coaching to me.
Yeah. And can I say one other thing about coaches? You know what I've started not to like? The coaches that wear their emotion on their faces during the games. Robert Saleh's guilty of this. Brian Daboll's guilty of this. You're supposed to be like Sirianni's guilty of this, but his team's been so good that we haven't really seen it turn against him. But you're supposed to be the steady hand, the leader of the ship. And when you can tell just by looking at you, you're frazzled or angry or frustrated, I think it has negative downstream effects. I think the Giants made a very predictable, preventable error in paying Daniel Jones when they could have franchise tagged him. Instead, they wanted to franchise tag Saquon, so they didn't commit long-term to Saquon. I understand the argument there is running backs don't want to pay running backs. What you really don't want to do is pay bad quarterbacks. What you really don't want to do is tie yourself to Daniel Jones, where next year he's $47 million on your cap, but if you cut him, he's $69 million on your cap. So he's your quarterback this year and next year. And then the year after, you can cut him, and you still have a $22 million dead money charge. The Giants right now, I can't believe I'm saying this. Tell me if you agree, and then we'll get to Chiefs-Jets, but this kind of has to do with the Jets. The Giants right now look like the worst team in New York. Right now, this moment, the Giants are worse than the Jets.
I'd say that's fair. That's a fair statement. Jets look pretty good.
The Jets defense looks pretty good, and Zach Wilson saved his job. Let's talk about that right here. Yeah, let's talk about it right here.
Zach Wilson outplayed Mahomes, but it wasn't enough to beat the Chiefs. You can say never a doubt all you want, but there was a reason you didn't respond to my text before or after the game. So is Kansas City's defense not as good as you said, or do you owe Zach Wilson an apology?
I'm going to go ahead and say neither. Well, maybe I owe him a bit of an apology, but not really. Here's the thing. It is a little damning that both of these statements are true, Damoza. Okay? That was far and away the best game I've ever seen Zach Wilson play. It was the best game of his career. That is true. What is also true is that game, he threw for less than 250 yards. His team scored 18 offensive points, and he fumbled the ball on the single biggest moment of the game. It was the best game of his life, the best game we've ever seen him play, and they didn't crack 20 offensive points, and his turnover is what sealed it. Those are both true statements. So now here's where I will give him credit. Because Damoza doesn't say this on the air. Maybe at some point he will. If Damoza had my job, he would be nicer. Damoza thinks I'm a little too harsh at times, and there are times during the pod he's off camera, but I can still see him in the split screen, and he's like shaking his head. He's like, "Geez, man, like you don't have to say that." Like I can tell. Am I reading your reactions correctly, pal?
You're in the ballpark, 100%.
Yes, yeah. Damoza would be a little maybe more of a positive member of the media ecosystem than I have been at times.
Yeah, it'd be like 100%. It'd be like Brew's little segment where he talks the guys up constantly.
Oh, the Bud list. Damoza would just be the Bud list. I believe in you.
This is what you need to do.
This is what you need to do. So here's the thing. Here's where I will give Zach Wilson full credit. There is something noteworthy about playing the best game of your life with your job on the line. It was, if he was terrible in that game, he's done. He's done. They had brought in Trevor Siemian. It was on national TV. He had back-to-back horrific performances. If he was awful in that game, he was going to lose his starting job. And he responded. Now, do I believe he is all of a sudden going to build on that massively? Probably not. On today's TV show, on Mahomes Mountain, for the first time in his career, is he on the mountain? He is. I put him on the mountain. Bottom row mountain, but he's still on there.
Mountain?
Well, of course it's Mahomes Mountain. Oh, you want to call it the Purdy Peak, something stupid? No, it's the Mahomes Mountain. Tua's Tower. How'd Tua do this week? It's Mahomes Mountain. And so
hey, man. It's coming up.
Now, as far as the Kansas City defense goes, still really, really good. The Chiefs defense is the only team in the league that has allowed 18 or fewer points in every game. The Chiefs defense has allowed 5 touchdowns all year. The Chiefs defense is excellent. Now,
what about takeaways?
What have they not been great on takeaways? I'll trust you on that. I don't even know.
So, do you their defense has been holding them to points, but would you say the takeaways are more important?
Well,
it'd be
here's the
nice
thing.
for them to-
Takeaways are the most important thing. They have 5 takeaways on the year. That now they're so that's, it's right around league average. They're plus minus, if you will, the giveaway takeaway, they're in the negative, which again I think actually bodes well for Kansas City, and I'll
because
explain
Mahomes
why in
will
just a
turn it
moment.
around.
Well, of course. I mean, that's true, but let me say a few things about the Chiefs. You mentioned the takeaways. I hadn't thought of this, but I'm now looking at it. Teams with a -3 plus minus or worse. Here's the full list. The Chiefs, the Rams, the Commanders, the Patriots, the Bears, the Browns, the Vikings, the Giants, the Raiders. For every other team, it's been crippling. I guess for the Rams hasn't been crippling, but none of those other teams have a winning record. They are all either 0-1 or 2-win teams. The Chiefs, meanwhile, are 3-1, and the one loss is by 1 point without their second and third best player, despite the fact the turnovers are going against them. So I think that is noteworthy. Also about the Chiefs. So obviously, the offense hasn't looked great. There's no denying it. Aside from the Bears game, the offense hasn't looked great. Yes, of course, I believe Mahomes will turn it around. Yes, of course, I believe that what happened on Sunday was they got up 17-0, thought it was going to be a walk in the park, and Mahomes started trying things out. And then all of a sudden, we've seen this happen before, where you think a game's over, it's then not, and you can't lock back in. Now, what I'm not going to deal with is this whiny bullshit about the officials. I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm just not. Go ahead, Damoza, go.
Hey, so I saw Sauce Gardner say that's not how you do things. I think that was, I don't know, I think that was the wrong way to go about the presser or whatever, but I do kind of, like, that happens every play. Like, that happens every play. And isn't there, I'm not totally brushed up on all the rules in the NFL, but isn't there something like first 5 yards as far as cornerbacks and wide receivers? Like, you're within those first 5 yards, you're good to, like, rough them up. And if
that's correct, well, you can't hold anywhere, but you can hit
contact,
the guy in the first 5 yards. So here's the reason I'm not going to tolerate the nonsense on the officiating, okay? First of all, it's 17-0 Kansas City. What play gave the Jets life? A safety. When we saw why was it a safety? Because it was face mask in the end zone. But it wasn't. That face mask started on the 2-yard line. They brought in the ref on the broadcast. He's like, blown call. Check mark in the Jets' favor. The next time they blew a call where they brought in the ref to say, yep, blown call, was when they called a horse collar tackle on the Chiefs when it was the front of his jersey, not the back. So 2 massive penalties go against the Chiefs. That's first of all. Second of all, Sauce's defense was not that he didn't hold. Sauce's defense was, I'd been doing it all game and they didn't call it. If you watch the press conference, he's most angry that they threw the flag late rather than when he held. Because what he said is, I didn't hold him late. If I say to you, Damoza, I didn't rob your house Tuesday, does that mean I didn't rob your house, or does that mean I didn't do it on Tuesday? So Sauce kind of told on himself there. I do understand the frustration of you haven't been calling that all game, you call at the end. I get that. What I will not abide, though, is because one of these anonymous NFL aggregation Twitter accounts was like, hey, look at this hold on Mahomes' 3rd and 22 run. When, first of all, the defensive end for the Jets gave up on the play. Second of all, there had been a different penalty called on the Jets that play. So even if they threw the flag, it would have just been offsetting penalties, 3rd and 22 again. And guess what I think would have happened? Mahomes would have picked it up because it was 3rd and 12 and he ran for a first down. They called a hold. So 3rd and 22, he ran for a first down. Call it again. Because then at the end of the game, he ran again and then slid. And that's the other thing. Everyone's like, oh, the Chiefs' offense. If Mahomes doesn't slide, they hang 30 on the Jets in a game they didn't play that well. I think the offense is going to be fine. You want to talk about the slide?
Yeah. So Kansas City had a chance to cover, but obviously Patrick Mahomes slid at the 1 yard line. Are you a bit upset about that? I know you made the bet last week.
So yeah, I mean, listen, it's the right play. It is the right play, not because they could lose, because they would have been up 10 with 1:30 left. So it's not that Mahomes prevents them from potentially losing. It's the right play because he removes the other 90 seconds of desperation football, which is where guys get hurt. He removes probably 7 or 8 plays his defense would have to run so now they get to do kneel downs. So that's where it is the smart play and the right play. Where it's brutal for me is Nick's picks is not off to a great start. He would have covered. And I live bet the Chiefs -4.5. So I just needed him to win that one to not pick up the first down, and they would have had to kick a field goal. So that part's unfortunate. However, I am on, and while Nick's picks is not great, I am on an all-time hot streak. I've done it twice in 4 weeks of seeing a terrible team losing. I'm sorry, a terrible team winning and being like, they're going to blow this. And I hit another 20-1. I hit the 40-1 the other day when it was the Giants coming back and what was the other team I needed? Washington coming back. And then on Sunday, when the Broncos were down 28-14, I was watching and I was like, the Bears absolutely could blow this. And I live bet them along with the Cowboys money line, because that game hadn't started, in the Chiefs money line, to turn a 12-1 into 21-1. And that was a nice little payday there. So, the Chiefs need to tighten some things up. Luckily, as I've been saying, their season does not start until November in Germany against the Dolphins. Their next 4 games are Vikings, Broncos, Chargers, Broncos. They're going to light up all 4 of those defenses. What are you're skeptical of this?
I do not know about all of that. If I'm being honest with you.
What do you tell me?
I don't know if that's going to be a cakewalk, man. Broncos, Chargers, those 3 games right there already, those sound like frisky games. The Chiefs don't outplay the Broncos like that when they see them. The Chargers, they don't outplay the Chargers either. I think those are all going to be... The Broncos have let Sam Howell, Tua, and Justin Fields combine in the last 3 weeks for 133 points. The Broncos defense in the first half of their last 2 games, Damoza, have forced 1 incomplete pass, and it was on a half-ending Hail Mary. The Vikings defense stinks, and the Chargers are the Chargers. What do we always say about these divisional games? Those are 3 divisional games right there.
What we always say about the divisional games is the Chiefs never lose them. That's what we say about the divisional games. Just for the record on that, and I know I said I was going to go faster, Patrick Mahomes, in his career against his division, is 27-3. He is against the Raiders. I'm going to tell you real quick. Against the Raiders, where the hell are the Raiders on this? 9-1. Against the Chargers, he is, where the hell are the Chargers on this? Sorry, there they are. He's 7-2. And against the Broncos, he's 11-0. So no, I'm not worried about it. I am flatly not worried about it.
Those games right there, all I'm saying, you're saying their season starts when they play the Dolphins out in I'm just saying they're going to get softened up a little bit before they see those Dolphins. It's not just going to be smooth. These games aren't going to be blowouts. They're going to be contested, close games. But We'll wait and see. You said the same thing about the Jets on Thursday. So it's like, go ahead.
No, listen, I did think they were going to blow out the Jets because I thought Zach Wilson was going to get benched for the worst quarterback in NFL history, Tim Boyle. I did think that. And I was wrong about that. And the Chiefs are not, a blowout team. But luckily, they're also not a lose games team. I mean, they're not a blowout team, but also not, a lose games team. All right, let's go ahead.
Do you want me to ask this last question, or do you want to?
No, I don't give a shit about the Taylor Swift stuff. I'm sorry. Sorry for cursing.
All right. I just don't care. So the Cowboys are undefeated, and the 49ers are looking like...
No, the Cowboys are not undefeated.
I'm sorry. The Cowboys and undefeated Niners look like the more dominant teams in the NFC right now, which you kind of predicted. These teams play each other on Sunday in a possible NFC Championship preview. Do you see any teams in the NFC challenging them, or is this already a two-horse race?
All right, well, we can't eliminate Philadelphia. They are undefeated, but they haven't played great. But you know who else we can't eliminate? The team that won last night, Seattle. I picked Seattle. My NFC Championship pick was Seattle, Dallas. And everybody is just anointing the Niners, and I get it. Brock Purdy did go 20 of 21. I understand, and the Niners look amazing. I get that. But right now, just for some context, the Chiefs are the second biggest favorite to win a division. Okay? They are minus 290. The Niners are minus 600. Pardon me. Seattle is 7-1. Why can't Seattle compete with San Francisco? The defense is getting healthier. Seattle didn't play well in the first game of the year. The Rams came out and kicked their ass. Since then, Seattle has scored 37, 37, and 24. They went to Detroit and won. And what Seattle has coming up is a bye week, then the Bengals, Cardinals, Browns. Then a tough one against the Ravens, then Commanders' revenge game against the Rams before just a brutal month of football when they go Niners, Cowboys, Niners, Eagles. Toughest four-game stretch anyone has in the NFL all year. But they're going to be, how many? Like 8-2 going into that stretch. So I think people need to put some respect on Seattle's name. I also think the Cowboys can win this week. And everybody wants me to bend the knee to Brock Purdy. I will not. I watch the games. Guys are just wide open. I give the guy credit. He's not making mistakes like he did in the first half of the game a couple weeks ago when it was just like 3 dropped interceptions. His numbers are amazing. I believe the Cowboys defense is going to put him in adverse situations of which he's been in none. And I think we are going to see what the real Brock Purdy looks like. If he lights up that Cowboys defense, I'll be singing a different tune. But I don't buy it. I know you want me to buy it, Damoza. I won't buy it.
Well, I mean the Seahawks thing. This is like
what?
This is the same Niners team that beat the Seahawks in the playoffs last year, right? Kind of like did they destroy them?
Annihilated them. They annihilated them. But it's not the same Seahawks team because they, like the Chiefs actually, played the second most rookies in all of the NFL last year. It was the Texans 1, Seahawks 2, Chiefs 3. They added Devon Witherspoon with a 5th pick of the draft, a stud corner. They got Jamal Adams back from injury, and they had these rookie tackles last year. Like the Seahawks are legit, and people will believe me at some point. Everybody thought the Seahawks' whole thing was, they have Russell Wilson. But then we see Russell Wilson leave, and it's like, maybe they have something sustainable, and all of a sudden Geno's out there cooking. All right, next.
All right, Cincinnati angered the football gods with their whole calling Arrowhead, Burrowhead talk.
Yeah,
and their most recent loss.
On that yet? Yeah.
In their most recent loss, Derrick Henry outplayed Joe Burrow at quarterback. How do the Bengals get back in the good graces of the football gods and turn their season around? Or is that possible?
They're cooked. They're cooked. I mean, listen, they do need to they need to atone for the sin of Burrowhead at some point if they want to be able to turn the franchise back in the right direction. But the season is cooked. And what the Bengals are doing is one of the most reckless things I've ever seen done. Joe Burrow, statistically speaking, has been the worst quarterback in the NFL this year. Now, is Joe Burrow anything close to the worst quarterback in the NFL? Of course not. So why has he been? Because he's so clearly injured. And they keep putting him out there. He has completed 2 passes all year longer than 15 yards. Jamar Chase is getting frustrated. In this game against the Titans, and I said it going in, everyone's like, oh, his type of calf strain, he's not at risk for an Achilles injury, so you don't need to worry. I am not worried about Joe Burrow's calf turning into an Achilles. I said it last week. I will say it again. I am worried about Joe Burrow's calf turning into cracked ribs or a broken collarbone or an injured elbow because he can't move and he's getting the crap kicked out of him. And in this game, that's exactly what you saw. It'd be one thing, Damoza, to put your franchise quarterback, newly minted, highest paid player in league history, in harm's way if he were playing well despite the injury. It would still be, in my opinion, reckless. But instead, you are getting not the best of both worlds, the worst of both worlds. You are getting all the risk, none of the reward. You are getting the worst quarterback play in football to go along with getting Joe Burrow banged up. I don't know what they're doing. I don't understand it.
Really unfortunate, the timing of his contract. I think that if he didn't get the contract, I think he feels like a little obligated to play. And obviously they do better just resting him and getting him in whenever, because they've got the bye week coming up. They could have rested him by now, but it's getting to that point to where it just seems like they're going to die on this hill. And
they should have sat him the first month of the year. I think that's a really interesting take, Damoza, that I haven't heard anybody say. That because he got paid, he feels a responsibility to be out there. But by the way, have you looked at the week 5 lines yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. Cincinnati.
Oh wait, no. I do know that's yes. I do know that line though. What's it? It's Cincinnati
at
minus
Arizona.
3, right? And it's the minus 3, right?
So it opened Cincinnati. By opened, I don't mean like the look ahead weeks ago. I mean Monday morning, it was Cincinnati by 4.5, which was insane in my opinion. It's now come down to 3. I still like Arizona. Arizona's been in all of these games except for the Niners game. They've been frisky, and the Cardinals can't move the ball. I'm sorry, the Bengals can't move the ball.
Right.
I don't get what they're doing. All right, let's go on to Bills-Dolphins.
All right, so the Bills made a statement by beating the Dolphins by 4 touchdowns. Just imagine what they're going to do to the Broncos in November, given what the Dolphins did to them. All right, It must be October because Josh Allen's in the MVP talks already. Aren't you happy to see the Bills back on top in the AFC where they belong? I'm not going to lie, you need the Bills. Like, it's like a Batman and Joker thing. I thought of this last night, and, like, you need the Bills to be good in order for you to shine. And, like, in you to do your thing throughout. For the Chiefs, not for you to shine, but the Chiefs need the Bills. Like, Josh Allen needs Patrick Mahomes.
No, I think you were right. I think you have it right. Allen. Like, the Chiefs are so boringly excellent that nobody really can, like, have, like, nobody actually wants to be like, I think the Chiefs' offense is in trouble because you know you're going to look like an idiot. So I think this is actually a good take by you. Also, just one clarification. The Bills are not on top of the AFC. Right now, if you go to conference standings, in first place is the Chiefs. No, it's the Chiefs. You know why? Because the Chiefs' one loss was non-conference. Meanwhile, the Bills lost not only a conference game, a divisional game. The Dolphins lost a divisional in conference game. The Ravens lost a divisional/conference game. The Chiefs, on the other hand, the Ravens lost not a divisional but a conference game. Chiefs still undefeated in the AFC, the one loss. So if the playoffs started today, it would be the Arrowhead Invitational once again. Second of all, shout out to the Buffalo Bills for being the second straight year the trendy team after September. Oh, look out for the Bills. Oh, Josh Allen. And this is where the rest of the media is just, to me, bunch of frauds. Everyone is anointing Josh Allen MVP favorite right now because he's looked good. He's looked awesome. Well, actually, in week 3, the team looked awesome. He didn't play that well. But week 4, he was unbelievable. Unbelievable against Miami.
Oh, week 1.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, what about week 1?
When he was terrible?
Yeah. Oh, did you already mention week 1?
No, that's the point I was about. No. We're on the exact same page. People are killing Mahomes for his team scoring 23, could have been 30, but he went down, and him having 2 turnovers against the Jets. Josh Allen's team was in the teens, lost the game, and he had 4 turnovers against the Jets. And people are like, one guy's the MVP, other guy needs more receivers, something's wrong with him. Like, give me a break. The most recent thing that happened is not necessarily the most important. But I am happy, and by the way, Damoza, you know who the Bills play this week? Sorry to put you on the spot, but do you know? Oh.
Is it the Dolphins or is it the Cowboys?
No. They just played the Dolphins. Cowboys play the Niners. No, I'll just tell you. What am I so excited about?
Oh, gosh.
They have to go play Trevor on his home turf. And by home turf, I don't mean Jacksonville.
To go play Trevor.
Oh, but you're not recognizing this part of it. By home turf, I don't mean Jacksonville. I mean in jolly old England, where Trevor's going to have a lot of extended family. The prince that was promised back on his native royal soil. Oh, boy. And you know what the Bills love? You know what they love right after riding super, super high? A head-scratching game. And you know what's a perfect recipe for a game? A 9:30 a.m. London start when Jacksonville's been out there already for 10 days getting ready. Jacksonville's been chilling. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Get ready.
That's a good
for
point.
all this talk all week. The Bills are the Super Bowl favorites. The Bills are this. And then Monday morning, we come in and it's like, wait, if the playoffs started today, the Bills would be behind Jacksonville in the standings. They're both 3-2 with Jacksonville having the head-to-head. Oh, yeah. We know Trevor doesn't start well, but come October, really November for him, but maybe this year October, start to turn it on. Can't wait for it. All right, I said we were going to be efficient. Instead, we did a 45-minute A block. Take a quick break. Come right back. What's right? Welcome back to this episode of What's Right. By the McDonald's app. Well, I've been in this situation hundreds of times, and the saving grace has always been the McDelivery option in the McDonald's app. We're talking about getting McDonald's delivered right to your door. And now, every time you order McDelivery in the McDonald's app, it earns you points towards free food. And who doesn't like free food? I love their breakfast sandwiches, the breakfast burritos, but still my all-time favorite item is honestly the Big Mac. So there's always a reason to order in the McDonald's app. Download the McDonald's app today at participating McDonald's. Delivery prices may be higher than at restaurants. Delivery and other fees may apply. Copyright 2023 McDonald's. All right, Damoza, before we get to freak out or chill out, what are we doing here?
All right, so at the beginning of the month, or once we started before football season, we started this thing called Plant Your Flag. So a month of football has passed. Let's review your week 1 flag plants. Just to let you guys know the rules, every month you'll need to. You start off with five takes that you love. Is that what it is? 5 takes that you
Yep.
love. And then you're going to have to abandon 2. We're about to show you guys here for those that are watching on YouTube.
Oh, okay. So, Robert Saleh on the hot seat. The Jags have a top 5 offense. The Chiefs the best team in the NFL. Quarterback woes bite the 49ers. And Bijan the best running back in the NFL. So, this is very easy. The 2 that I'm going to get rid of are the Jags' top 5 offense. The offensive line play has not been good enough. Trevor hasn't quite been sharp enough. I don't think they're going to have a top 5. They might have a top 5 offense the remainder of the year, but they're in such a hole right now. It's not going to be a top 5 offense. And Bijan, I love.
Right.
But the reason I'm getting rid of him as the best running back in the NFL is because Christian McCaffrey has been so damn good. And so I'll leave what I'll leave is Saleh on the hot seat. He's obviously gonna be on the hot seat. The team stinks. And so that one I'm gonna get rid of. Or I'm gonna keep, pardon me. The Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. And the 49ers quarterback woes will bite Shanahan. That's a long-term take. That's a long-term take. So I'm going to replace the Jags will have a top 5 offense with the Bengals are cooked take. They're 1-3. They are cooked. They're going to get Joe Burrow hurt, I fear. And I'm going to replace the Bijan best running back in the NFL take with, I think over the next 6 weeks, one of the hottest top stories in the NFL is this going to be Belichick's last year with New England? I don't know about his last year coaching, but his last year with New England. Because I don't know that they are going to abide for how bad this team's going to be. And it was looking bad, and now they found out Matthew Judon, the best player on the entire team, might be done for the rest of the year. He's having surgery on a torn bicep. So I'm going to go ahead and add those to it, to our planting our flag. All right, Damoza, we can go on to freak out or chill out.
All right, so freak out or chill out. We got the first one here. The Eagles needed overtime to beat Sam Howell. Despite being undefeated, things don't seem like they're clicking in the way that they were last year. Should the Eagles freak out or chill out?
I would freak out just a little bit. I mean, they're 4-0. And so for a team playing to win the Super Bowl, getting home field advantage, getting the bye, all that is massively important. So it's great that they haven't blown a game. But they haven't looked overly impressive. They, I think, could have lost to the Washington had Rivera gone for 2. Jalen doesn't look quite as sharp in that pass defense, like I've been saying. If they don't get to the quarterback, that secondary is not very good. So you can't really freak out at 4-0, but you can't act like everything's all rosy either. All right, next.
Right. All right, Mac Jones hit a new low. He was benched for Zappy again last night. Belichick's chances of catching Don Shula's win records go down every week. Should Belichick freak out or chill out?
Oh, he should freak out.
Where are you going here?
Yeah, I mean, he should freak out. And I think people are Belichick deserves some of the blame, but the biggest mistake he made was picking Mac Jones in the first round and thinking that guy was going to be a difference maker and then continuing to trot him out there. But they don't have any other options right now. And so I don't know that Robert Kraft is going to take any excuses here, so I'd freak out a bit. All right, next.
All right, just when the Chargers seem to get back on track, the injury bug strikes again. Justin Herbert fractured a finger in his non-throwing hand. Should the Chargers freak out or chill out? That's fine, right?
Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't freak out necessarily about this injury, but I would freak out about the fact that we just haven't been very good. That they're very fortunate to... Listen, I understand they could have won the 2 games they lost, but they also could have lost the 2 games they won. Also, quarterbacks out there. If it's not the playoffs or like a must-win game at the end of the year, if you throw a pick, just get out of the way. He hurt himself trying to engage a blocker after throwing an interception. You're going to get your ass kicked, buddy. You're not built for it. Like this idea like, oh, I'm going to run down the field and make the tackle. Kirk Cousins threw a pick He sprinted 70 yards trying to make the tackle and then just got blasted into next week on it. Like, that's not what you're there for. All right, next.
The Steelers stuck with their offensive coordinator, and it led to Pickett suffering an injury. Pittsburgh is still alive, but needed to turn around to make it to the playoffs. Their above 500 streak keep their above 500 streak alive. Sorry. Should the Steelers freak out or chill out?
Well, listen, they should freak out. Their offense just looks dead on arrival every week, and the fact that Mitch Trubisky taking over for Pickett for a couple weeks might be a good thing shows you where they are with Pickett. And the defense got just ramshackled by C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans, a frisky Texans team. 2-2, interesting, fun Texans team. All right, next.
With a loss to Denver, the Bears now have the best odds to land Caleb Williams. With their own pick or Carolina's, luckily, Caleb is getting used to the team with no defense. Should Caleb Williams freak out or chill out?
Oh no, he should chill out. I mean, he's gonna be a franchise changer wherever he goes. The Bears, if they get him, can draft him at 1 and then Marvin Harrison Jr. at 2 or 3 with the pick they have from Carolina. They then, I think, should hire Ben Johnson, the Lions' offensive coordinator, start the whole thing over in a very winnable division. No, he should chill out. This idea, Caleb's going to go back to school. I don't buy that. He's not going to go back to school. He's going to be the number 1 pick. He's going to win back-to-back Heismans and then go be the number 1 pick. What's up, Damoza?
I said he could. Could go back to school.
Oh, yeah, I don't. Here's the thing is this. The idea that, I'm going to wait a year, so the year I come out, the team with the number 1 overall pick is what? A good team? The year you come out, the team that goes 2-15 is like actually a good team? That's not going to happen. All right, Damoza, I got this for you. Drew Holiday, as called by you, rerouted to the Celtics. Boston got rid of Malcolm Brogdon. Got rid of one of your favorites, the Time Lord and Robert Williams.
Yeah.
Right now, your confidence level in the Celtics is what?
I'd say it's about the same. Like,
wow.
I wouldn't have wanted to lose Robert Williams for Drew Holiday because
you loved Robert Williams.
Yeah, and I value defense. We just lost a big defender for a smaller defender. But what I will say is I think that Drew Holiday will fill in what's been missing for the Celtics in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I do think he adds a little bit of spice to it, but do think we're lacking in the big man department now. I mean, Porzingis is always injured.
Well, that's the thing. That is the concern. I mean, you guys, Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, you guys should have the best defense in basketball. Right. But the question is, are you going to have enough size? I still like Milwaukee's offseason more than yours, but flipping out Marcus Smart for Drew Holiday is an upgrade. It just is. Drew is, 100%. I believe, a better on both ends. A better defender and a more reliable offensive player. The question is, are you guys going to have enough size if you need it? All right, before we move on, my guy Dusty tells me that when I was doing that ad read for my friends at McDonald's, that for the YouTube audience or the podcast audience, we had music playing over it. So I'm just going to give them a second ad read. How many times have you been in that situation? You've had a really long day. You're really hungry. Last thing you want to do is cook a meal, leave your house, and go pick someone up. Let's be honest. I've been in that situation dozens of times. My saving grace, McDelivery option, the McDonald's app. Talking getting McDonald's delivered right to your door. And now every time you order McDelivery in the McDonald's app, it earns you points towards free food. And who doesn't like free food? I love their breakfast menu. My favorite item on the whole menu, though, is still the Big Mac. It means there's always a reason to order in the McDonald's app. And this episode of What's Right is brought to you by the McDonald's app. Download the McDonald's app today at participating McDonald's. Delivery prices may be higher than at restaurants. Delivery and other fees may apply. Copyright 2023. McDonald's. Quick break. Come back. Read your questions. What's Right? Hey guys, it's Nick Wright. I love and use Airbnb all the time. Whether for a work trip or a vacation, I'm always looking for the best places to stay. Maybe you yourself have stayed in an Airbnb before and thought, this is pretty doable. Seems pretty easy. Maybe I could make my place an Airbnb. It could be as simple as starting with a spare room or your whole place when you're away. Either way, you could be sitting on an Airbnb and not even know it. Maybe you're planning a long weekend with friends or family this fall. While you're away, you could Airbnb your place and make some extra money to help pay for the trip. Maybe there's a big game in town. Lots of fans will be visiting. You could Airbnb your home or extra room and make some money while people are in town for the game. Whether you could use extra money to cover some bills or something a little more fun, your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host. All right, Damoza, what are the questions we're getting to today before I got to go to work? Or I guess go to other work, but go ahead.
All right. So at the top of it, I just want to wish you a happy birthday, Pops. Let you know that I love you.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
And there's actually a little video I want to show you. You actually kind of confused me just now with the chat question. But so Daniel, could you cue it? Could you cue it now, please?
Oh, okay.
So there's like this there's this guy. So I just found this so hilarious. I guess he probably doesn't know our circumstances or whatever, but he asks if you ever did this with me when I was a child. And it just made me think. No, we definitely didn't do that. But there was one time in Kansas City when I was like just getting warmed up to you. I was probably like 11, maybe 12 years old. It was around when I was playing for that Pee Wee football team. And we'd play catch with the football or whatever. And then there was one day it was like frozen over on the roads. And I asked you to play catch and you were like, no, like we can't do it. And my mom was like, same thing, like definitely can't do it. It's frozen outside, whatever. And we still ended up going outside and playing catch a little bit before we left. We were hitting the road for something. We were throwing the ball around for a little bit, and you threw it, and you, like, got swept off of your feet just like in that video, and you busted, like, you hit the crap out of your head. And I just remember that being, like, a turning point, I feel like. That was, like, the hallmark of what our relationship, like, ended up being over time. It was just, I really appreciated you still playing catch with me that day, even though you knew the roads were frozen and that you could have gotten hurt. And you got hurt, and like I just remember looking at you differently from that day on. But I love you, Pops. Happy birthday.
That's amazing. Man. I love you too, Damoza. I didn't know that.
You don't even remember it, I imagine.
Maybe because I got concussed. Maybe I suffered a brain injury, and because of that, I don't remember it. I remember vividly when we were in Kansas City, one night before we had all moved in together, and one night you, your mom, and your little sister came over to when I had the apartment in downtown KC, and she had fallen asleep in the car, and you were carrying a basket of laundry, and your mom was walking, and you guys had pulled into the parking lot, and I was walking with her, and it was icy, and I fell in the parking lot, and I remember like grabbing her and tucking her like a football almost, so I would fall. Another time I cracked my head on the pavement, but she was fine.
You've
she stayed
put
sleeping.
Yourself on the line for us, man.
She stayed sleeping. That's beautiful, Damoza. In fact, we'll get back to some of those listener questions next time. I want to end the show on that. That was a great birthday present, pal. Thank you. I love you. You did a great job today. Show was great. I'll see you guys on The Herd. Regular hit with Colin around 1 o'clock Eastern today. TV show at 3. See you guys then. What's right?
Take care, everybody.
Hey, it's Nick Wright. Thank you so much for watching. Please do us a favor. Click subscribe. It helps my ego. And Damoza's got a financial bonus writing on a number of YouTube subscribers, so help him out. And also, click the bell. I don't know what the bell does, but they tell me to tell you to click the bell. And if you're audio listeners, people that have commutes, drives, whatever it is, subscribe to the podcast as well, wherever you get the podcast. Same show, just in your ears instead of through your eyes. All that. Check it out. Appreciate y'all.